Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, and today we're hitting you with a wonderful little countermaker deck. We have Sunen, the Luxa Embodied. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So Sunen, Luxa Embodied, is a 6/6 for 3 colorless and Simic with Reach, Trample, Indestructible. And Sunen can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. In Magic, 0 counts as even. And at the beginning of your first main phase, put a 1/1 counter on Sunen. Then if it has an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. So this is going to be 2 classic Simic concepts combined into one for this Bracket 2 deck. It is going to be a little bit of Landfall and a lot of counters being put on things. So we have one Planeswalker in here. We have everybody's favorite, very strange legendary artifact Planeswalker equipment, the Aether Spark, which gets a number of loyalty counters on it whenever the equipped creature deals damage equal to that damage. And then you're going to use it to put 1/1 counters on the creature and draw some cards. Equip it to your Sunen to be able to Hulk Smash for a ton. All right, for creatures, we've got Bristly Bill, a now staple from Thunder Junction into Landfall decks, but it says Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, and then you can double the amount of 1/1 counters on your creatures. We have Cold-Eyed Selkie, put some 1/1 counters on it. It has Island Walk, and whenever Cold-Eyed Selkie deals combat damage to a player, you may draw that many cards. It's a classic commander card. For Mana Dorks, we are running Delighted Halfling. We're running Fanatic of Ronus. We're running Gyre Sage, Incubation Druid, Lana War Elves, and Khamid of the Whispered Hopes. To help us with proliferation and getting more counters, we have Evolution Sage, which is Landfall Proliferate, and Flux Channeler, which is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you proliferate, which, for those of you newer folks, proliferate is choose any number of permanents and or players, give each another counter of a type they already have. And then we have Colonian Hydra, a big Hulk Smash creature, which says when he enters the battlefield with 4 counters on him, and whenever he attacks, double the amount of counters on each creature you control. We have Kodama of the West Tree, so modified, which is equipped, aura, and counters are modifications. Modified creatures you control have Trample, and whenever they deal combat damage to a player, you can search for a basic land and put it into play tapped. We have Murkfiend Liege, which lets you have all of your green and blue creatures each have +1/+1, and untap all green and or blue creatures you control during each opponent's untap step. We have Owaka, Traveling Merchant. Remove a counter from a non-land permanent you control and draw a card. This is really good with Sunen. So if Sunen gets to the point where she draws you 2 cards but can't attack, you can then use Owaka to remove one of those counters, putting her back down to even, and then she can smash. We have Ouroboros, a cool new card from Edge of Eternities, with at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 or X 1/1 counters on each creature you control, where X is Ouroboros' power. We have Prime Speaker Zagana, another classic, a little bit more expensive. This is probably one of those cards that could be swapped out if you wanted to go to higher power. Enters with X 1/1 counters, where X is the greatest power amongst creatures you control, and when enters, draw cards equal to its power. We have Rishgar, which he puts 1/1 counters on things, and then your creatures with 1/1 counters can tap for green. Starwinder, another really cool card from Edge of Eternities. That lets you draw cards whenever a creature you control deals combat damage. We have Tatiova, which is Landfall, gain a life, draw a card. Varel, which lets you double the amount of counters. And then also Zimone, which lets you double the amount of counters on a creature. For sorcerers, we're running 3 ramp spells in Rampant Growth, Kodama's Reach, and Cultivate. We have a nice little draw spell in Contentious Plan, which lets you proliferate. We have Wave Goodbye, which is return each creature to its owner's hand, which doesn't have a 1/1 counter on it. And then we have Seagate Restoration. For instance, we have a little bit of protection in Heroic Intervention, Legolas Quick Reflexes, Mutational Advantage, Slip Out the Back, and Fog for a general one. We have a tiny amount of ramp with Entish Restoration and Growth Spiral. And then we have some combat tricks and pump effects in Ancient Animus, Gift of the Viper, Ram Through, and Snakeskin Veil, which also serves as a protection spell. We also have Return of the Wild Speaker to draw a lot of cards. For artifacts, we have some mana rocks in here, but the standouts that you're going to want to look at are Ozolith, the Shattered Spire, which puts 1/1 counters on things. We have the Ozolith. We have the Earth Crystal. We have the Great Henge. And then we have Sword of Truth and Justice, but not the American way. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on target creature and then proliferate. For enchantments, we're running 12. We have Branching Evolution and Doubling Season, some classic commander cards that double your counters and help out. We also have Loading Zone, which also doubles your counters. We have Terra Symbiosis, which when you put 1/1 counters on a thing, you can draw that many cards. Teferi's Ageless Insight to let you draw more. Tribute to the World Tree, which will let you draw cards or put 1/1 counters on things. Inexorable Tide, so every time you cast a spell, you proliferate. Hydra's Growth, and then Wizard Class and Innkeeper's Talent. For lands, we're running a pretty basic package. Our standout here is Evendo, which should be easy to activate given that Sunen gets very large very quickly. And then it turns into a Gaia's Cradle effect. We're running a whole bunch of the budget lands that come into play tapped, etc. And then we are running a good amount of basics because of our fetch that we have in the deck. But overall, a pretty simple Simic deck. It is a lot of fun. I've been wanting to build Sunen in paper for a while. I just have some other projects that I'm currently working on, but she will be built one of these days. But yeah, let me know what you think. Have you built Sunen? Does she seem like an interesting Simic commander to you? I know a lot of Simic commanders are pretty much the same strategy, but as always, I am Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and have a wonderful day.